Plastic EP here from Melbourne, Australia. Let me tell you, you're listening to one of the greatest podcasts out there on the internet and all over the world, coming through your speakers live. It's Jim and Mike, talk music, and I wouldn't miss their episodes because I love these guys. They are great, and the show's great too.
1, 2, 3, 4. All alone, no one to turn to, no one to turn to. At home, please stay with me. Hello, no one here with me. No one to turn to, no one to turn to, no one to turn to now. And I say, hey now, ooh now, what you gonna do now? Hey now, ooh now, you're feeling blue now. Hey now, ooh now, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? Without me, without me, without me, yeah. At home, want you by my side? Hello, don't run and hide. Come on and love me, come on and love me.
Today we have a very special guest with us. He is a worldwide legend from Melbourne, Australia. In the last year and a half, he's done over 500 live Facebook shows, and he has interviewed many great personalities, from Leslie Cavendish, Paul McCartney's barber, to Suzi Quatro, to Chris Frantz from the Talking Heads. His band, the EPs, have released over 70 albums. Let's welcome to Jim and Mike Talk Music.
Actually, 100.
Okay,
Actually, 100 albums is all up, 2,400 original
His
songs.
band, the EPs, have released over 100 albums. Let's welcome to Jim and Mike Talk Music, the biggest Monkee fan in Australia, Mr. Plastic EP.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, I love being with you guys because you guys rock, and you know that.
Thank you.
I found you on the net, and I said, these guys have got something very special happening between them. And the way you guys look today, I don't know if I've gone back to the 50s or I've gone back to the 70s here in Australia.
Well, he's got my Elvis
These guys
wig
called,
on.
you remember, right?
This
But we used to have the skinheads.
Yeah.
We used to have the ones with the mullets in the 70s, and you guys are wearing mullets from the 70s. I don't know if you know that.
Look, I have a drink here. I know this is an Australian.
Yeah, that's right. Foster's, well done.
It's like an oil can.
Yes.
I put this in my car.
That's it, exactly.
It
Did
goes
you just buy that
faster.
especially for the show?
I'm going to spell it.
Did you buy that especially for No, Jim.
Oh, we can hear it. Yeah, there it is.
go. Okay.
But this wig I'm wearing actually is it's an Elvis wig, but it would be Elvis after a hard day's night. I mean, after something going on, because it's looking pretty rough.
Unbelievable. You guys went to a lot of trouble. I'm going to say I love your logo there in the picture. Both you guys wearing those glasses. Looks like you just come out of the mountains, chopping wood.
Yeah, it was cold that day.
Mullet. It's a blonde mullet for our viewers. Jim's wearing a blonde mullet. It's
also got to say, you know, in my fridge here, you showed the Fosters, right? I've got the Stella in my fridge. Stella beer. Have you seen Stella?
Yeah.
I've got a Stella. Do you want me to go get it, show what it looks like, or you're all right?
Yeah, we're good unless you want a beer. I don't care.
So for you,
no, but I'm trying to say, that you pull out the Fosters. That's a real Australian welcome here. The only thing I'm sorry is I can't go in my backyard and ride my kangaroo.
I said, just fix the damn thing. Keep my private life out of it.
And
so for you, it's
I love exaggerating things to the Americans. I mean, don't get me wrong, but they believe me. If I told them I had kangaroos in the backyard, they'd believe it. If I told them I'll get a kangaroo and I'll ride it down New York, down Main Street, they'd believe me.
I don't know if you can ride a kangaroo.
But let me tell you one thing. I got to clarify this myth to people that come to Australia. It's true, right?
Yeah.
Australians are very rugged. Like, you might see a spider. You might see a spider this big, no fear. You might see a snake as big as an anaconda, coming into your house. If you live in Queensland or something, no big deal. They get it. They take it outside. They don't care. They adapt to everything. You got no idea. I don't know if you saw this YouTube video. There's a kangaroo that's got his dog. Now, you got to understand, Australians love their pets. They love their dogs, This kangaroo's got his dog in a headlock, He's taken off skin off the dog, and this kangaroo jumps up like he's going to knock him out, like it's wrestling. And the Australian guy goes whack and whacks him.
Yeah.
The kangaroo
punches him in the head. Yeah, I saw
and then he takes off. Have you seen that video?
Yeah.
Punches the kangaroo in the head. I said, it doesn't look real.
Punches the kangaroo in the
It's almost
face.
unreal. Yeah. Hey, so it's morning for you,
that's
right?
how much you love this dog. That's how much you love this dog, man.
Since you're talking about the dog,
Run straight the kangaroo because the kangaroo's got the dog in a headlock with his paw, and then the kangaroo jumps up and makes the muscles like he's ready to knock him out, and this guy just goes bang straight in his face, and the kangaroo goes like that, and then jumps off in the bush.
Yeah. Hey, since we're speaking of dogs, what about the phrase from 15 years ago? Dingo got my baby. You know about Dingo got my baby?
No, I don't want to get into all those things because I don't want to get into the actual thing. But I can tell you that I believe that dingoes can actually take babies.
Yeah.
It
can happen.
Because you don't understand when an animal's hungry. I mean, I don't want to get into it, but they could eat anything. I'm being honest. It's like, I've got my own opinion about different things. It's about UFOs too. I mean, you guys probably watch the sky every day, waiting for a UFO to come and take you away somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. I look at the sky a lot. I'm scared.
But you know that Roswell? I believe that.
Yeah. They live among us.
Don't you guys believe that?
Yeah,
they
live among us.
Tell everyone about Roswell, what actually happened.
No, I believe there's life on other planets.
Yeah. And they could be here.
So it's 10 o'clock in the morning there,
moon
right?
landing, I don't want to get into that too.
No, I'm not getting into the moon landing thing.
Don't.
No, we won't get into the moon landing. That's
that,
USA all the way.
People don't.
Yeah.
So it's 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, top of the morning to you.
I don't want to say too much. The flag waves. There's sun in their, their glass. I won't say too much. But you got to understand, 1969, I saw it live on the 20th of July. I saw it. I was at elementary school.
And what'd you think?
And the black and white TV that we had, you couldn't tell if they shot that out in the street or they shot that out in the Arizona desert because it's black and white. You couldn't tell anyone. For that time,
I've been to Meteor Crater down in Arizona. I visited Meteor Crater in '97, and that's where they were training for the moon landing. And it really looks like a moonscape. I mean, you could do a film there. Yeah.
So tell us.
All I'm saying is, I don't know, but what do you want me to say? There's so many things out there. But let me tell you this: you cannot believe everything you hear in the media, especially now. As I said, I switch off the TV. I'm watching A Hard Day's Night. I'm watching Help. I'm listening to the Monkees. I'm listening to the Beatles. I'm listening to Elvis. I'm on the internet. I don't want doom and gloom. I want happiness. You've got to make your own happiness in these times. Like you guys, you look like you've been collecting records from the 70s. Would I like to say that?
Speaking of that, this is way too hot.
Yeah,
this is going. This is going.
Get rid of the wigs. Yeah,
remember
exactly.
Take the Skinheads bowling?
There's a cool change there.
That was 83 maybe.
Okay.
Woo!
Hey, I appreciate you guys going to all that trouble.
Now you can see.
I just want to tell you something about
shine there. I get too much shine. There we go.
Now I want to tell you guys something about
how much hair he has now.
Can I do that?
Look at you. Look at you, a head full of hair. Look at you.
Hey, can I tell you something about Australian music or what? Okay,
what was
listen. Have you guys have got iTunes, aren't you? You're that advanced, aren't you?
We do.
We listen to Apple Music.
Yeah, because it's all right there.
Okay, listen.
I collect records.
If you
too.
type in, all right, listen. If you type in an Australian band called the Angels, right? It's got like 40 timeless hits, right?
Okay.
You're going to hear some of the greatest songs you've ever heard in your life, and I'll tell you why. These guys were opening up for AC/DC when they were under Albert Productions, right? Now, I don't know if you've heard their songs, if you listen carefully, right? But they had so many great hit songs. And it's like, if you can look up iTunes for me now, I appreciate it. Can you type in the Angels? And you'll see this symbol, the Angels in red, and you'll see this black circle background, and I know that you're on track.
All right, so we got...
when will
how
I
old a band are they? When did they start?
No, the lead singer's passed away, right?
Okay.
They're still going, but what I'm trying to say is, to me, they're the greatest Australian band that I take my hat off to. To me, they're like number one. I'm not knocking AC/DC, but I'm talking for the songs that they sang and what
All right.
they did.
Are we back
She
in
Keeps No
1963?
No. The Angels. Look up the Angels.
It might be another band. Man.
Yeah. All right.
They started in the 70s. I think it was in
right.
the 80s.
That looks like them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where's that camera?
Give me a look. It got 40 greatest hits. Yeah, that's them, but find the album where it says 40 greatest hits. That's it. I think it's on the right-hand side there, this red writing.
Angel City. There's albums.
Yeah, show me the album that's 40 timeless songs.
All right.
Might not be on Apple Music.
Yeah, they might not have that.
It's there. It's underneath that picture
See
for
all.
sure.
All right, there we go. See all. What year are we talking here?
I don't know,
Face to
not long
Face.
ago, right? But they put out 40 songs.
78,
songs.
79. Yeah, we got 78 and 79.
That's it.
Yeah, we got.
Just show me that. You find that album, 40 timeless ones there, and I'll know that you got to listen to that.
All right. So this was happening in the 70s. This was some wild stuff. Wild stuff happening in the 70s.
Yeah, I don't think it's
Talk the Talk. Yeah, I think Apple Music doesn't have it. It's called
other compilations.
Yeah. Let's go back here.
We know them here as the Angels.
The Angels. Under the Stone.
Yeah, I'm looking them up now.
Yeah. Let's go back here. Singles and EP, Icons of Rock.
Important your viewers find this because I love it. Hang on. It's the Angels' greatest hits. I found it now. First song is Am I Ever Gonna See Your Face Again? I need everyone to go and get that. Find that now.
Okay.
We are going to listen to that. We are going to get that.
Am I ever gonna see your face again? These guys write the greatest songs. Have you found that exactly or not?
No, I haven't got that.
Some stuff's
All right,
not
the
on
Angels'
Apple
greatest
Music.
hits. You see it there. That's what you look for in iTunes.
Oh, greatest
First
hits of
song.
Angels.
Am I ever gonna see your face again? Can't miss it. Just the greatest stuff there. Honestly.
All right, that is that's good for our listeners. They got to check that out.
I'll tell you, everyone will be driving around the US listening to them. I'm dead set.
Definitely going to check them out.
Yeah, I didn't hear.
Now
of
they
it.
were the opening act for AC/DC, and then they left Albert's. Albert's was the production company for AC/DC and the Angels.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, every audiophile knows that EP stands for extended play. Is that the source of your names? It means
That's right,
something
the
else?
extended plays, which
Extended
is the EPs.
play.
I started off in 1981 as Plastic EP in the records. That was what we did. And what happens is we released a single on vinyl called At Home. Flip side was 3 special words. Then we go to make our second record, which is going to be called When You Want to Make a Record, I'm Not Coming Back. And what the story is, we did the song, all done. We go back to do some minor, edits or whatever. And the master tape has disappeared. So here's the irony now. It's 1981. I've got a song called When You Want to Make a Record, I'm Not Coming Back as the second single. Can't release it. We walked out with cassettes, thank God. And then in 2018, they released it here in Melbourne, right? Xerox Records. They put out like 1,000 copies, released it worldwide. It sold. And that was released like 42 years later. You can do the maths from 1981 to 2018.
Yeah.
They released the missing second single. Then what happens is within that year of 1981, I said, listen, Plastic EP in the records, it's too long. It's like Cliff Richard in the Shadows because we're doing like punk music. And I said, now I want to do pop music. So let's change it to the EPs, the extended play. So you go to iTunes now, there's 100 albums there, the EPs. THE space EP apostrophe S.
That's right.
So then I do this song called Forget All I Said, a song that I wrote when I was 8 years old, but recorded it when I'm 23 years old, right? So it's 1982. And that's the third single that became the second single. Right? And then we went from there all digital, and I haven't stopped writing and recording songs.
So what happened to that? What happened to that lost master from way back then? Who took it?
Well, as I said, we had on cassette, and it was mastered off the cassette before the cassette sort of like vanished.
Yeah,
We
somebody's
were smart
pocket.
enough to have it. We had it done and released in 2018.
Yeah.
It's released on vinyl.
Wow.
And if you go Bandcamp and look up Xerox Records, they've probably got the download there. And if you go to YouTube and you want to hear the song for free, type in When You Want to Make a Record by Plastic EP and the Records, and somebody's got that record and made it into a video of the whole complete song, and you hear it.
So
these are songs that come out of the speakers, because what happens is 1981, as I said, the band I had, Plastic EP and the Records, punk is like, we're 6 months behind England. We're always behind you in Australia. You've got to understand that. We're always behind. So we come out, we're doing punk. We didn't care. We thought we're as good as anyone in the world. So we come out with these 2 singles that you've never heard in your life. And they boom out of the speakers. Like, my voice is like banging your face. If you go to this site called Wallaby Beat, they do the history of the Plastic EP in the Records. Yeah. And they go, these guys are like musicians that are like deranged. Plastic EP sings on top of the notes. He doesn't actually sing the notes. These guys are like one bun short of 6 or something, right? Like, you got to read the writer. It's like unbelievable. Look up Wallaby Beat, and it starts. Plastic EP in the Records talks about the first single, At Home, 3 special words. Then there's another page dedicated to Plastic EP in the Records. We want to make a record. I'm not coming back. Then there's another page dedicated to the EPs. The third single, Forget All I Said, Secret Love, when we went pop. So those 3 things have been, how can I say, documented, and it tells you the history of us from then. And from then I haven't stopped writing songs. It's like, you guys got to understand. Okay, in 1964, the Beatles are the biggest thing here in Australia. They come in, I'm 6 years old. What do I know? You turn on a black and white TV and all I see is screaming. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. All you could hear was the scream. You couldn't even hear the words. No.
I didn't even understand, but what I'm trying to say is those songs were so advanced for their time, even in 64. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And then comes 1967, because I want to put everybody in the timeline, unless you live the 60s. No one knows what you're talking about. So 1967 comes along. My birthday's on the 9th of July, right? In July, the Monkees and Batman are shown for the first time in Australia on black and white TV, 2 weeks apart, right? So the Monkees come on. I'm 9 years old. So now I understand music. I understand music. I'm going to elementary school, which we call state school in East Hawthorne, right? It's a suburb here in Melbourne.
Yeah, so your brain is more advanced musically than your peers. Yeah.
And basically the Monkees come on, and it's like bang, the song She, theme song from the Monkees. I'm Not Your Stepping Stone. I remember. This is what I'm talking about, pop culture, right? I was more concerned with music coming out of the US and the UK than I was to going to school. This is what you understand. I was soaking it in at that young age. And to me, the greatest songwriters were Boyce and Hart, who wrote all those early hits for the Monkees, Last Train to Clarksville, Valerie, right? I'm Not Your Stepping Stone, Mike Nesmith. They were my major influences. But let me tell you, it doesn't matter where you start on this music journey. You're going to end up at the Beatles as well. I tell this story because it's true. I remember being at elementary school, standing in the middle of my oval, sports ground, right? 1967. I'm 9 years old. And for the first time, someone has a radio and they play I'm the Walrus. And I thought I was listening to someone from Mars. From outer space. I remember that day. Like it was yesterday. Baby. I've never heard anything like it in my life. And we're talking the original time it got played. This is what people don't understand. You don't know what weird is to the weirdest. Australia was conservative, hair, dress, shirt, tie, go to school, so conservative. And here comes the Beatles with the song coming out, mellow yellow, dead cut, dripping from a dead dog's eye, right? Custard and all this.
From a dead dog's
eye. Stick it up your jumper. Now, I've got to explain something in Australia. We know what jumper is. In America, you call it pullover. But when he's saying oompa, stick it up your jumper, we know exactly what he's saying in Australia. What's he talking about, my jumper? What weird
jumper.
I still can't get over it today. And these people are all Beatle fans now. I don't care what generation you come from. But unless you experienced it, like I did firsthand, I mean, it's like the Monkees. I experienced the Monkees firsthand. I don't care the generations that love the Monkees now. But I've got to go back to my memory because this is what you're going to understand. Pop culture, I'm living it. I'm living it and soaking it in.
On our podcast, we say the Beatles every time.
And I'm on the internet and I'm interviewing people. This is something that I was born to do. I was born to do it. But that's what people understand. That was my life. It wasn't going to school or what I'm going to learn. I'm learning from the 60s. I remember the first day Pretty Flamingo came on by Manfred Mann. I remember the first time Yummy, Yummy, Yummy on the radio, and there's nothing like it in 1968. I go, what? You know, what a song, you know? It's like the impact you got from the AM radio back then. Australia was very conservative. And as I said, your radio.
Yeah, AM radio. AM radio.
AM radio.
Yeah, no stereo coming out of that, I believe. It's just coming out of that
stereo.
one.
We didn't have color. Do you know we didn't have color TV in Australia till 1975?
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
We're watching HR Puff and stuff in black and white. We're watching Gilligan's Island in black and white. We're watching Star Trek in black and white. But let me tell you this. We couldn't afford a TV guide. So what happens is I'm a young kid, 8, 9 years old. I don't know what's on.
Yeah.
I have to change channels. There's no such thing as
a
guide.
Oh, yeah. You get your exercise walking up to the TV every 5 seconds. Yeah, walking up and changing that channel.
On a TV where you held the aerial in your hand.
Yeah. 13 channels, right? I think it was 13 channels.
We only had 4 channels. Well, let me tell you, it was like a coil that you had to hold it up and be the actual human aerial to get a picture. I'm not talking America here. I'm talking Australia. You know, that's the days, you know. And I remember the first time the Ken doll came out. Ken, you know, Ken and Barbie? My parents bought me a Ken doll before G.I. Joe. Who wants a Ken doll? Like, I can tell you some stories.
Where did it end up? Where did your Ken doll?
That will blow your head around. Like, you can understand, James Bond was huge in the UK. And everything from the UK came to Australia because we're part of the Commonwealth. So we're getting all this merchandise coming from the UK, whether that be TV annuals that you read that you couldn't afford. I could afford toys in the 60s. I'm dead set. I was lucky if I got a comic. You know, I was lucky I got a comic of the Monkees, one comic, you know, or I got one of the Monkees in 67, 68. The life here was expensive then. Now it's even more expensive. But I'm talking about pop culture.
What do you do with the Ken doll without Barbie, though? I mean, what is a Ken doll? Where did that end up?
I don't really know, but all I'm saying is you went into your milk bar. We call it milk bar, where you bought your milk and bread. And at that time, the bread wasn't sliced. We didn't have American bread machines here to cut the bread till later. So what you did is you paid 20 cents because in 1966, we went decimal. So 20 cents bought you a loaf of bread that they got a tissue and just taped it, gave it to you. You went home and got a knife and cut like this big, that thick, and you got Vegemite, which you know what Vegemite is. And you put it on and you ate it. You had 2 pieces and you sat in a corner because you couldn't eat for 5 hours. That's how full you were at that time. I don't know if you've ever heard of something called a wagon wheel. Do you know what a wagon wheel is?
Let's see. It was a bar that Morphine in the band Morphine talked about.
No, wagon wheel was a chocolate round circle, supposed to be called wagon wheel in a paper that had a picture of a wagon wheel from a wagon. You know, you took the wheel off.
Oh yeah.
And what happens in the 60s? It was bigger than your hand because you're only like 8, 9 years old. This was huge. Now you buy a wagon wheel with inflation, it's tiny. Back then it used to be as big as your face.
We used to have big wheels.
Yeah.
They were called big wheels.
You know, I remember, like, you got to understand what currency was able to buy you, right? I'm not 8, 9 years old, and I remember this specifically, right? I used to live in a street called Campbell Grove, Hawthorne East. I'm telling you my history. And what happens is we made our own fun. You know, like, it wasn't just you watched black and white TV, but you went outside, you played with kids. You had a brother or whatever you did. And I remember this distinctly like yesterday. My mother said, I need you to go to the shop. We got people coming. And the shop is like down the end of the street 1 mile away. And I said, I really don't want to go. And she goes, look, I need you to buy me these items, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, bread, milk, this, and this. I said, listen, I'll only go if I get to keep the change and I'm going to buy lollies with it.
Mm-hmm.
She goes, all right. She gave me money. By the time I went down the street, I'm not lying to you, I forgot what I needed to buy. So instead of buying 5 things, I bought like 2 things or whatever. So I had all this money left over and I just sat there and just picked out all these lollies. So when I got home, I had this bag of lollies this big. That was gigantic. And I went home and opened the drawer in my room and threw them all in there. And then my mother came, I don't know, half an hour later. She said, where's the other things? And I go, what other things? She goes, I told you to buy 5 things. I said, sorry. She goes, what up with the money? I said, come here. I pulled out the drawer. There was enough lollies there for 2 weeks. And that I remember.
That was more than 5, though. Can you show us any
this
of
is what I'm trying to say. You come from a different generation, but you've got so many stories to tell.
Oh, yeah, a lot of stories.
I mean, I know that you guys grown up in America.
Yeah.
You guys grew up with fads. We had fads here too, like the hula hoop.
Yeah.
Like, the beach movies. Like, the Three Stooges when you had holidays, right? You'd go with a tram, like you got trams in San Francisco, here in Melbourne, we got trams, and you'd go to the city and you'd see a movie, and that would be a big deal. But I can tell you this too. In 1968, the movie Head came out here in Australia, like it did all over the world, right? Now, 1968, not that it matters, I'm about 10 years old, so I'm very young. And I told my auntie I wanted to go to this movie called Head by the Monkees. And in my mind, I thought it's a Monkees TV show, but a movie, because no one knew what it was. I didn't know. And at the time, the advertising was someone's head that you didn't even know. They wrote the word head without even mentioning the Monkees. So anyway, we go to a place in Melbourne, right? And you can look it up, called the Forum Theatre. It's still here. And what happens is this building was painted green and it looked like, how can I say, Ali Sabin's palace. That's the kind of style that building is. It's like a palace from the desert. You know what I mean? Of course, I go there with my auntie and we can't get in because it's sold out. So now I can't get into the Monkees and I'm like shattered. Like my life has been destroyed. So what do we end up doing? We go and see a movie called Angels Tread Where Danger Follows or something, right? I remember that. And Bobby Hart and Tommy Boyce wrote the theme song to that.
Oh, okay.
It's where Angels Tread, Trouble Follows, right? So I go and see this movie about nuns instead of seeing the Monkees, and I'm like distraught.
Father Plastic EP.
Same thing with the Monkees. I've got to explain to you what happened in Australia. 1968, we see the TV show 33 and a Third. And then Peter leaves. Peter just disappears. No one knows here in Australia. No one told me. And then the Monkees disappear. No one told me.
Yeah, we're only on for 2 years.
What happened to the Monkees? And I don't know if you've seen that cover, 1969, the psychedelic one, that's got the pink writing on a black sheet, and there's no picture on the front, no picture on the back, and you're going, where's the Monkees?
Where'd they
I
go?
don't see the Monkees, I just see the Monkees greatest. Where's the picture of the Monkees? That was like abnormal there.
How are you going to not have a picture of them there? Right.
How can you not have a picture of the Monkees? And I know the story about that because I actually interviewed Nico Kolos, who did the cover for that, and he also did the Mummy and Daddy picture for the Monkees.
Okay.
Right, he told me the story about why there's no picture of the Monkees. But in New Zealand, there's a picture of the 4 Monkees. I've got it upstairs, but they pulled the plug on it because Peter had left the group. But they manufactured some and it went to New Zealand with the 4 pictures of the Monkees. And here in Australia, we got a black space.
Yeah.
I've got to tell you this because this is what psychologically damages you in pop culture when you actually live it. And you're going to wait like 50 years to find out why there was no picture on the black cover.
So you have an extensive collection of Monkees memorabilia, don't you? You have a great collection.
I got everything. I got everything I need. My Monkey collection is bigger than my Beatle collection. But let me tell you, I got the rarest Beatle comic in the world.
Okay.
It's pay 20 cents for it Australian, and it's the how can I say? It's the export edition. Sold in England for two shillings 7 pence or something. I got that. I just happened to pick that up on my way while I was picking up Beatle clips. My problem is here, where I am now. I got so many collectibles next to me now, right? Like, you got no idea. Here, watch this. Here's an original 1969. The Archies.
Yeah.
Right, Jingle Jangle. Now, the reason why I got this here is the original that I own, right?
Yeah.
I picked it up as well. But what happens is I interviewed Tony Wine, who sang on it.
Okay.
She sings the opening lines to Jingle Jangle. She sings on Sugar Sugar.
Yeah.
I mean, these songs, not only are they evergreen, they got more relevance now than before. I don't put a date on things. If it's a great song, it's always a great song.
It's funny. It's funny because there's a show called Riverdale, which is about Archie and Jughead.
Wow.
And Jingle Jangle is a drug on the TV show.
Jingle Jangle. Yeah. So is it like a pill?
I don't know.
Oh wow. Have you heard of that? Have you heard of
Riverdale?
Riverdale. Huh. No, I didn't know.
I've heard of Riverdale. I've heard of the comics. I haven't heard of the actual show.
It's a TV show.
It's like, look, that's really hard to get now. That's 2 CDs. Have you seen that, the anthology? It looks like a TV, 3D.
Oh, yeah, cool.
That's very really cool. Have you ever seen this stuff?
Do you have a museum where you can charge, people can visit you and see this stuff, or is this all in your home? No, I'm being serious. I saw that look. I'm being serious. Yeah.
I got stuff in boxes. You know, I'm lucky my stuff isn't out the street because my wife's very good at just getting rid of stuff.
I wanted to ask you about
that's
the
UK.
I wanted to ask you about the poster you have.
Oh, yeah.
You have a poster. Is it signed by all 4?
Yeah, I got the Monkees poster. It took me 52 years to get it signed by all 4 Monkees, which I bought when I was 8 years old. I bought 2 copies, right? 8, 9 years old, 1967.
Did you meet them in person?
Well, I want to explain. There's a music shop in Campbell Junction, right? And I bought 2 posters. I cut one out, a silhouette. That one's gone, but the original I got. I laminated it. I met Davey first. He was the first person to sign it right here in Australia at the Malvern Town Hall. My wife was with me. Then when the Monkees came to tour not too many years ago, then I was able to get Mickey and Peter to sign it once.
Okay, great.
And then the last signature, which was the elusive one, which everybody thought I'll never get it, was Mike Nesmith.
Yeah.
And that happened. And I got the 4 signatures and Mike signed across his hand. And what? And they're all made out to Daniel, my real name. It's my pride and place in my house. And people have asked me, if there's a fire, what are you going to do? I said, I hope when I run in to get my poster that my wife's close by.
Sure are.
I'm just going to make it out on her own, I said, because I'm going straight for that poster.
Yeah. She's on her own.
Well, the poster can't run. The poster doesn't have any legs. The poster needs help. Yeah, poster needs help.
You know, can you remember the day Help came out, that movie? I mean, don't get me wrong, A Hard Day's Night was great, but Help was color.
Help
was like groovy. It was pop.
I think we're a little younger because we grew up in the 70s.
I watched the Monkees reruns when I was a kid, probably 74.
That's good. That's good enough.
I was watching the reruns. Yeah, I go over to my grandmother's house and they're feeding me breakfast, and I'm watching the Monkees. It's great. It was.
You know what?
It was music and comedy together. You know, that was a bit strange.
Exactly, but that's the first people to do that. You got to understand something. I want to put things in perspective to you, right? The Beatles are the #1 thing in the world with A Hard Day's Night. 1966 comes along. The producers in 1965 want to do something called the Monkees. They couldn't use the word Monkeys, for example. So they used Monkees with a double E because all the bands had like the Birds, you know, animal names. You know, and they wanted an animal name, so they ended up with the Monkees. Now, the thing with the Monkees that people don't understand, they're put together for television. But they were the first time the first time, this is the most important thing, that the record company got together with a film company, had an assault on the world. They had this machine behind them, which people don't understand. I think in the first year, they pulled in $20 million gross worth of merchandise, right? I've read different things.
That's the machine.
What I was told. That's the machine. Now, nobody, not even the Beatles, that machine, right? It's the first time it's a full-on assault.
Yeah.
This is
People
even the
ate
first
up.
boy band, before boy bands, and even
Hell yeah.
videos. They did videos in a TV show that no one did, that they called drops. So now, you got these four guys. But these four guys, they're not just four actors. They're two actors and two musicians, and they cross over, right? And they become actors, musicians. And then it's full on. They go from being, let's say, TV band to a real band. They go and play 200 concerts live. It's like, you know, they can't underestimate the power of the Monkees, because the four of them together is what made it. Those personalities, those guys are going to get so much credit. It's not a matter of any four can do it. That's crap. These guys, even Mickey was playing guitar in a group before the Monkees. Right?
Right. Yeah.
So what happens is these guys are musicians. David was playing on Broadway. He was singing. You know, it's like, these are not like, let's just try. This was like very contrived, you know, setup. We're going to attack. We're going to do this. We're going to do whatever we do. And the music, this is the funny thing. The song Last Train to Clarksville was released before the TV show and went to #1 before the TV show.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And not only
That's
that,
incredible.
Credit to the music.
1966,
Yeah.
they
Credit
got nominated for a Grammy Award.
Yeah.
And in 1966, they got nominated again for a Grammy Award. You don't nominate a group for a Grammy Award or Song of Music or whatever it is, unless you're very good.
Yeah.
So it's only now, I'll tell you now, in 2021 that we live now, the Beatles fans and everybody is taking another look at the Monkees and realizing, hey, the Monkees really are great. And two of them have passed away now. Sadly, they're not with us now to see all this.
Yeah.
Right? But I'm going to tell you, what they did is they put out entertainment. Do you know how hard it is to do entertainment, that kind of entertainment? To be filming 12 hours a day and then going to record in studio, to do all these multiple tasks. It's not easy, and it was non-stop.
Yeah, I still remember them running around 50 years ago when I saw them.
The Monkees are unique, and the Monkees never had the Beatles sound. They never copied the Beatles. I disagree with that.
Well, I think the TV show kind of copied the Beatles movies.
Yeah,
The way it was filmed.
it could have been said like that. But let me explain. The Beatles movie, they didn't live in a beach house. True? They didn't live in a beach house. It didn't have an American sound.
No.
Okay? You can see something and say, hey, that's great. We can use that idea as the basis. Four guys.
Yeah.
They're from, you know, but it's not the same. The idea may look similar, but it's totally unique. It's unique because it's American. Davy Jones is singing American. He's not singing British, even though he had the accent. He's singing American pop.
Yeah,
You can hear that. So everyone has different views.
Yeah.
People can take it as they want to say it. It's easy to say, oh, they're copying the Beatles. No, they weren't copying the Beatles. And the Beatles admired them for what they did because they were friends. The Beatles didn't say these people are, you know, this group is like nothing. The Beatles admired the hard work and what they didn't put into it because it's.
I was just saying it had the same look. I mean, some of the scenes had the same look. That's all I'm saying.
Because it's the same time. It's the same time
that's
period.
right. I don't disagree with what you're saying or what you see here.
Yeah.
Jim, I totally get it, but you got to understand something. Let me put you now in perspective. This is the first time where before they used to see shows like Donna Reed, you know, and the son would be, I got a name. I'm not using my real name. This is the first time you got four guys without a guardian figure that are using their real names and their surnames on a TV show.
Yeah.
1966, right? It didn't happen here until 1967. It's on TV. They live in a beach house. They play songs. They got a monkey mobile.
They were
Right.
who they were.
They got a
And
monkey
at 8
mobile.
years old, I tell you, at 8 years old,
Yeah.
didn't matter who played on the record. No one cared back then if it was the Wrecking Crew who played guitar or who did what. When you saw the Monkees, they were so believable that I actually thought they really live in the beach house. I actually thought they really did drive a monkey mobile and go shopping. I really did think that they sang the greatest.
Because it was a real name.
Because
too,
today,
like you were
Tom,
saying.
you don't know who's playing on the record. This is what I'm trying to say, reality. That was the Beatles had given up the teeny boppers. As soon as the Beatles gave up the teeny boppers, the Monkees were right there to take over the whole spectrum, and that's what they did. The timing was like impeccable.
Yeah.
Right. As soon as the Beatles moved on, right, gave up the teeny boppers, started talking about some other, working with Ravi Shankar and that kind of thing. Yeah. Getting deeper. Yeah.
As soon as the Beatles stopped touring, there's the Monkees right there, ready to take over their teeny boppers that not their age. And what happens is the Beatle fans were always older than the Monkey fans.
Yeah.
So your brother and sister listened to the Beatles, but you came along and, hey, it's the Monkees, you know?
Hey, it's the Monkees.
And that's what was happening. I remember going to school. That's true. I remember going to elementary school in 67, and I'm a Monkees fan, and I'm proud of it. And there's Beatle fans looking at me like, something wrong with me because I like the Monkees, you know?
Well,
They're like, Revolver and Sergeant Pepper, and I'm like going, I'm not your stepping stone. I didn't give a shit, quite frankly, you know? I remember.
Cheer up,
right, this is the great thing about being 8, 9 years old. I remember walking to school, and I'll tell you, the words to she, the words to she, that was the current, the big song. She told me that she loved me. So I'm walking to school every day singing she. Then the next song comes along, theme from the Monkees, hey, with the Monkees, and I'm walking to school back and forward, hey, with the Monkees. Then what happens is the songs keep coming, I'm not your stepping stone, until I get, and I remember this one.
Yeah.
Until I get to the song Going Down. That one blew me. That one blew me away, that one, because that one you really had I've got the 8, 9-year-old brain. And what's he singing? Flying down a river with a saturated liver, and I wish you could better. And told me that. It's like rap before rap.
Lyrics.
So that took me a while to get that one. That was like you really had to work on that song going to school. That's what it was about.
Yeah.
So let's talk about
these are fond memories that I share with you. I'm wrapped that I'm on the show to tell you my 60s experience growing up with this stuff.
Yeah.
The carousels were huge here. Your American bands were huge here.
Yeah.
Gary Puckett was huge. The Archies, huge. We got it all down here, but it didn't happen the minute it happened in America. We've always been behind. It's only now we've got the internet. Bang, I know what's going on,
I went from the 50s because my sister gave me these 45s. They were like Jerry Lee Lewis, Elvis Presley, The Crest. I went from the 50s then to, it would have been the 70s, like 1975.
Kind of skipping the 60s. It's pretty weird. Yeah.
But I knew about the Monkees before the Beatles. I was a Monkees fan. I still am.
All the way.
But I like both equally.
Well, I hope you start listening to Monkey Mania Radio, which I'm going to be on it. It's got the greatest.
Well, I want to talk to you about your
the 12th of September.
Well, let's talk about your Facebook shows.
The 50th anniversary of the Monkees first being shown, 12th of September 1966, is the big launch of Monkey Mania Radio. And if you
what date is that again?
Live 365, you can download the app. You can listen to the station now.
Okay.
It's going full ball. I'm going to have a show Saturday and Sunday.
Okay.
And we got so many other great hosts on there, like Charles Rosenet.
Yeah, know him.
We got Alan Williams. We got Doug. We got
that's August
Jody
8th?
Ritson. We got everybody on there. We got Marty. We got everybody. I just don't want to get into it. But start listening to Monkey Mania Radio now. It's the only Monkees internet station where you hear nearly everything. It's not just the Monkees. You hear the people that write the Monkey songs. You hear the people that are associated with the Monkees. So go listen now. Live 365. Download the app. Start listening to it now. It's out there. It's great.
So let's
You know
talk
what I
about.
like about you guys? You take in the pop culture
Yeah.
and you sort of understand it. Everyone's got different personalities. And I appreciate
yeah.
that you give the platform
Yeah.
to say things that you guys may not know.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? It's like you're allowing me to
Right.
tell
We're
you
educating
how I
the
grew up,
listeners,
what you guys are
educating our
saying
listeners
from the
on
70s.
experiences. Yeah, right. Experiences that certain people have, and the listeners have never. It's just otherworldly to them, like you said. Hearing the Monkees for the first time, hearing these other songs for the first time. It's just it's a cultural thing. It blows your mind, especially when you're 9 years old.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but let me tell you something that you don't know. When I used to walk along Taronga Road, I like telling you these places. Somebody might come to America and look it up.
Yeah.
Taronga Road, East Hawthorne, right? And Camberwell Junction is close by, right? That's another suburb where there's a junction where they got shops. That's like a main shopping centre. But on Taronga Road, I went to a school called Auburn South State School. At my time, it wasn't a posh school. It's become a posh school now, elementary school. Now, in the 60s, there used to be a Volkswagen station wagon with one of the biggest Monkees logos painted on the van. Because you know why? They were from the Sutex company that made ladies' stockings that sold Monkees stockings. Monkees women's stockings.
Wow.
And that's what that van was doing. From 67, going up and down, delivering Monkees stockings. Look
Now,
it
when
up
you
on
first-
the net, the item. I've got a pair.
When you first saw that, when you first saw that van, did you think the Monkees were in there?
I didn't know what it was until I saw it a few times and I said, this big giant Monkees logo going down the street.
Wow.
I mean, that's something you don't forget. It's like, I don't know if you know Mr. Whippy. Have you heard of Mr. Whippy?
Mr. Wimpy.
Toilet paper.
That's
Whippy.
Oh, that's Wimpy.
W-H-I-P-P.
No, I don't know
Explain.
Wimpy.
That's how they sold the ice cream in the 60s. They had these little orange vans playing green sleeves, And you went up to the truck and you bought an ice cream. Mr. Whippy. Had a big ice cream cone at the front of the van.
Yeah.
Anyway, where I live, I'll tell you a story. Where I lived in Campbell Grove, this didn't have many children in my particular street. Okay? So every time I'd come out and I hear this Mr. Whippy going, and his battery, if it was working all right, you heard it normal. But if his battery was half dead, you hear it like, you had to figure out where this van was so you can go buy an ice cream. True. In the 60s.
Yeah, you gotta use your perception there.
Exactly.
Figure out where it is. Where is this
by the time
truck?
you find the van's gone. You've walked somewhere for nothing. But anyway, what happens is at that particular age, I know where I found the courage, right? I went up to one of these vans once in another street and I said, listen, I live at this address, bang, bang, Campbell Grove, Hawthorne East. Come outside my house. There's so many kids, you'll sell so many ice creams.
Yeah.
And one day the van comes outside my house. So I just come out, buy my ice cream. But the whole street's empty.
Ice cream
The whole
broker.
street's empty.
Here's my card. Ice cream broker.
And then he didn't come back again.
That's a funny story, though. That's, you conjure up so many memories. Anyway,
when you're on the, I got a question.
Really
I have a question for you. When you're out in the street, when you're just in your daily life, do you see yourself more as a podcast wizard, a holder of the like the stories you're telling, or a musician, or all the above? You kind of the Renaissance man of.
I see myself as a pop cultural archivist. I see myself as an interviewer. I see myself as a musician. And I see myself as a unique personality at this particular time
Just
in the
a
world.
creative person.
When the pandemic happened, that's when Plastic EP came and went worldwide.
Yeah.
Because I was only here for one thing, and that was to entertain the world. And no other motive than that. Not interested in money, not interested in anything. Just come on and try and make people's life a little bit happier, no doom and gloom. And I've been doing it for the last 15 months. I got the 500 shows. I'm actually now on 528 or some shows. And as I said, now
That's just in like a year
I
and a
can
half.
say,
Wow.
You find Plastic EP on the net, you find one interview, and then you're looking for the other 500.
No, your interviews are great.
Yeah.
And you don't know what you're going to expect. That's the great thing about it. You know, I'm there. I don't like telling people I'm going to interview so-and-so so that you watch, and then for some reason, because of technology the way it is, the person may not turn up.
Yeah.
And it's not his fault. Because a lot of people don't understand this technology. You got Zoom like we're using now.
Yeah.
You got StreamYard. You got whatever you use. I never want to let people down. That's why I never talk about who I interview. It's not meant to be like it's a surprise, but I never want to let anybody down.
Yeah.
I hate, you know, the idea that so-and-so's going to come on my show at 8 p.m. Thursday, whatever. Make sure you're watching this and that. And you watch it, and for some reason out of my control, it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I hate that. I hate letting people down. You know, it's just in my nature.
Yeah, you just have to have some grace, you know, have grace for other people, and people have grace for you. Hey, you know, I don't know if you've probably heard this before, but this is important to me. Do you know that Americans just love to hear the Australian accent? Do you know that we just love it?
I really appreciate that, and I think the time that I hit in March, that they wanted to hear Australians, and I mean, I've got to tell you something, because look, I just love talking to yourselves and actually telling you my side of the story. I'm telling you things.
And that's my point. We could listen to you all night. We're just going to keep listening. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, but let me tell you, 1966, the biggest Australians on the music scene were the Seekers. Now, I don't know if you know about the Seekers, right? They had
I've heard of the Seekers. Yeah, we were wondering.
Is over. Georgie Girl, right?
We were wondering about Australian bands. I know, you know, the big bands like AC/DC and
of course. But I want to tell you who were the first international
I've heard of the Seekers,
Australians on the scene.
Yeah.
1966, 67, it's the Seekers.
Okay.
So you got to understand something. Even though I'm a music person, and I love like the Angels, and I love the Beatles, and I love the Monkees, and I love everybody, I've got to look at my culture here in Australia. I'm a first generation Australian. My parents were Greek. They came to Australia.
Okay.
My dad came in the early 50s. My mum, she got married in Greece. My dad brought her here. They made a life. They worked very, very hard for whatever they achieved. You know, they raised a family. I grew up in the 60s. To me, they were the happiest times in my life.
Yeah.
This is another time now that we're going through, which is another chapter in my life. But what I'm trying to say is, getting back to your story, I am who I am because I've created myself from a long time ago, right? Like 1981, I was Plastic EP and a Records. It's all documented. It's all there. I'm no instant success. I work hard at what I did. It's just that opportunity, right, in 2020 in March was like a needle in a haystack, and I had the technology to go, right, I'm doing the interviews. It was already in my mind I'm doing interviews. I had no doubt I could do it because, as I said to you, I'm born to do two things. That's music and that's interviews. And pop culture is what I'm all about, right? So I know who I am.
And you've got millions of people who are suddenly at home and able to listen.
Podcast show. Previously, I'd done all my interviewing before the COVID. When I mean that, I got America. I've done film clips of me doing Hey Bananas, I Think You're Groovy, walking down Hollywood Boulevard, ready for that moment where I just appear. So I had all this footage, and then COVID came, killed everything,
Perfect
and I said, right, this is the takeoff point. Right now, I'm going for it.
Yeah.
So come on the net. This is my Plastic EP, not the original version because I haven't got the suit. You saw me, the original version.
You're the current version that you are. Yeah.
This shirt was done specifically for the interviews. You know me by this shirt.
Yeah.
But the true Plastic EP is the one with the gold suit and the black skinny, which I have worn before on a show. But what I'm trying to say is, you know, the songwriting was first. That was my number one love, right? Starting all my life, I was born to be a songwriter. I proved that. I knew I could do interviews. That was the second phase, and both went together.
Yeah.
And the difference between me, which makes me unique, First of all, there's no one called Plastic EP. 2, there's no one that looks like me. 3, there's no one that's got a theme song called Hey Bananas Who Think You're Groovy. And there's, as you said, getting back to being the Australian. This is why I pay homage to the past. Yeah, I'm Australian. And I'm proud of it. And I'm a world-class Australian internet celebrity. And this is what people don't understand, because it's the internet is at its infancy. And you guys are celebrities too. Anybody on the internet now that's making a mark is an internet celebrity. But no one's going to tell you that. Yeah. The commercial networks aren't going to come out and recognize and say, hey, you guys are celebrities. We're watching what you do. They're not going to do that, because I did an interview with Ivor Davis. I'll tell you the truth, right? Ivor Davis' claim to fame is 1964. He was in America. The Daily Express said, you're going on tour with the Beatles. For the first tour of America, you're going to be with them for 5 weeks, living in and out of this suitcase. Yeah. And you're going to write about the Beatles every day and send it to us so we can print it, because 3 million people are waiting for you to write every article in the UK. That's his first claim to fame.
Yeah, he spoke at length on our podcast about that. It was excellent to hear that story.
That's right. But I want to say this. His second claim to fame was he was in the room when Elvis met the Beatles. Yep. Now, if that's not being there, fly on the wall, I don't know what is. But this is my point. I do a 35-minute interview just about Elvis meeting the Beatles, because it fascinated me. It fascinated me back then when they actually met in the 60s. It's fascinated since then. Yeah. I never knew anybody that was there until I met Ivor and got to know him. So I do a 35-minute interview. Then guess what? 6 months later, here in Australia, commercial TV do a 5-minute interview with him. 7-minute interview on the same topic.
Yeah, nobody probably knew who he was.
What do you want to watch? Yeah. The 7-minute interview or the 35-minute interview where I come out worldwide and tell them about Ivor Davis, Elvis meeting the Beatles? You have your choice. The commercial networks can't keep up with the live thing that we do. The internet is the future. Make no mistake about it. Oh, yeah. The internet is the future. These commercial stations.
It's old news
because they can't deal with
they
can't deal with this being so live and so quick.
Yeah. There's one news that I watch, one of the networks, and by the time they're 20 minutes into their show, they are actually doing 15-second segment. It'll be 15 seconds, and that's it, and another 2 minutes of commercials. I was timing it. It was just that's no way to do it. No. Yeah. How do you choose your the people that you're going to interview? Something. How do you choose the people that you're going to interview?
There's an art to doing podcasts. There's an art to doing interviews. I can write a book. I can write a book about doing podcasts with the expertise of how you do an interview.
Yeah.
Because I know when you get to 526 interviews, you either know what you're talking about or you don't. You either have the knowledge or you don't.
So I'm wondering, how do you choose the people
what I'm
that
trying to
you
say
interview?
Is you can't go as far as I've gone unless you know what you're talking about.
Right.
And when you have peers that tell you it's fantastic what you do, like, what's his name? Ivor Davis calls me the Australian Oracle. Right? He says, you know what you're talking about. You know, so many people put tags on me. I don't care what tags they put on me. Yeah. Somebody called me elastic. Someone calls me plastic. Someone calls me this. I don't care what you call me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as you remember
me. That wouldn't play
me.
very well if it was
that's
elastic
the key thing. As long as you remember me. That's the main key. Yeah. You agree?
Yeah.
And
I haven't seen a plastic EP until I see myself here.
I have to tell you something, Plastic. You inspired us to start doing interviews.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we just started out. We didn't know what we were going to talk about.
We were informing and entertaining.
And then we decided to talk about music. But then I've been watching you for over a year.
Yeah.
And I saw the people you interviewed, and I'm like, we need to do that. I mean, we're not copying it, but we need to get more into the music by talking to these people with their stories, like we're talking to you.
And each one's been successful. Just great people telling great stories. We
love doing it.
And that's what I learned the most. I learned that the real people.
You've told me that, which I already have spoken to Jim before. The fact that you told me that, you don't know how happy I am. Not for myself. I'm so happy for you guys. That you're actually doing it and you're enjoying it and you're entertaining people. That you don't know, just those words that you said to me make whatever I've done on the internet worthwhile. Just those few words
you
that
are
you
an
said.
inspiration.
That's how much it means to me.
And what I've found most is that they're genuine people. It's the real human story in that musician, like Ivor Davis, telling the real thing, you know, what he was thinking when he met the women that were given to the Beatles, you know, and just seeing that interaction. That was a great story. It's not just the music. Yeah, it's amazing. It's the real
and
human
it's different than just reading something in a book that you can watch someone like, and your shows are live, and that's what makes it great too.
Yeah,
because it's in the moment.
I'm not a big fan of Zoom. I'm not a big fan of pre-record. All my shows, I've got to explain.
Well, we'll put the whole video on YouTube.
90% of my shows have been streamed out and been live.
Yeah.
And that's what's made it. But what the problem is, I've had difficulties, like you would appreciate this. For example, you live in Arizona or you live in parts of the UK, StreamYard doesn't work. Your internet drops out, right? Yeah. You need to use Zoom. You got no problem with Zoom.
We've had a couple
once you know
problems
these
with
things,
California.
you know, you're not going to do an interview, for example, with Suzi Quatro, and the internet's going to drop out because that's how it is. You've got to know these things too, because it's happened to me before, and I've learnt the hard way. What you got to understand about Plastic EP, which makes my task even harder, and a lot of people don't know this, but I want to say it on your show.
Yeah.
You tell me how you do 527, let's say, interviews, and it's a one-man show, and you do it all yourself, and then you realize you're going live, and then you realize that you have to edit some of these shows, which aren't your fault, but sometimes you have to do edits. So here I am doing live interviews and then wasting my time editing as well. So there's all this work in the background that no one knows about. They've got no idea how many hours I've killed myself to present a show to people to say, this is a show just for you. I hope it makes your day happier.
Yeah, Jim does all the editing, and he knows how long that is. It's just it can be tedious.
Yeah.
But you know, if it's a machine, you do an hour interview, and it'll take you 4 hours to render.
I enjoy listening back to it.
That I have to put up with. It's like pulling teeth at some stage, you know. And it's all this that I don't want to bring up. That's got nothing to do with no one. That's my problem. But I tell you what, while this pandemic is here, I'm not leaving. You know, I'm not leaving. I don't want doom and gloom, and I want everyone to be happy.
Yeah,
and it's in my mind, and I'm not giving up 1 second. I've been very lucky that I've only missed like one interview out of 520 something because of some reason. I don't even remember. Yeah. But, you know, I had to adapt to the time zones. That was the hardest thing.
Yeah.
I got 3 diaries full of interviews that I've had to do. Wake up 5 a.m., wake up 2 a.m., wake up 1 a.m., wake up whatever time they want, be there and give it to the people. And that's why I think people love me, because I'm not fake. I'm genuine. I'll say it as it is.
You're who you are.
And when I get the person on the interview, there's another thing I love I do. I don't waste people's time. I haven't got 25 minutes to get into what I want to say. That's not me. You can turn that on anywhere you want. I get into the interview, we're on. We say the interview. They open up themselves and they tell me everything.
Now you've done so many interviews. Tell me one. Tell me one that really struck you, where you, at your core, for who you are, you said, "Oh my God, that was great. That was a connection." Do you have one of those? Tell me.
I'll tell you the greatest interview that I believe that I've done, that was done recently, that I take my hat off. That's going to blow your mind, and I don't even know if you've seen this interview. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Michael Lindsay Hogg, the man that filmed the Beatles on the rooftop and did the Let It Be movie. Yeah. Here I am. I've done 500 interviews, right? It's never going to leave me. I've done 500 interviews. I've achieved what I needed to do in 15 months, 500 interviews. Now, interview 511, Michael Lindsay Hogg. The man has not given an interview since 2010. I do an interview with him with Chachi LaPret, Breakfast on the Beatles. He tells me things about the Beatles and the rooftop concert that I've never heard, that the world has never heard. Have you seen those 2 interviews, part 1, part 2?
I have not seen that.
Have you seen them?
No, I haven't.
Have you guys seen them?
I've seen the film footage, and there's something going on in the air. You could
his interview.
Yeah. I've been seeing the interviews, but in the
No,
film
I'm
footage.
just asking if you've seen my 2 interviews.
No, I
part
didn't.
one,
No.
part 2. Have you seen those?
Not yet. No.
Okay, that sums it up for me. People can't keep up with Plastic EP. Anyway, to get back to my point,
Yeah.
Michael Lindsay Hogg is with the Beatles, and he says, "You guys wanted to do this concert or do a live thing in Rome and in a Colosseum. You wanted to go on top of a mountain. You wanted to do this." And he goes to the Beatles and goes, "Why don't you do it on the roof?" And the Beatles go, "What roof? What are you talking about?"
Right.
Yeah.
Do it on the roof here at Apple, on the top.
Wow.
It came from Michael.
Wow.
They
So
went
he
up on the roof
suggested
at
that.
Michael. Paul McCartney's jumping up and down, thinking if it's good enough to do the thing. And what happens is then he tells you now when they're going to do the concert. This is why I don't want to get into too many details. I want you to see the 2 interviews.
No, I will watch.
Part 1, part 2. Plastic EP and Chachi LaPrette interview Michael Lindsay Hogg. Part 1, part 2. World-class interview. You know what he told me that freaked me out? He goes, "We made a booth downstairs in the Apple building when you came mirror 2-way. So when the police came in, we could film them."
Yeah.
Wow.
You ever heard that?
No.
Yeah.
No, I'm asking
Otherwise,
if you ever heard
you wouldn't
that?
be able to wouldn't be able to film them. Then they would have shut them down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I'm not
Never
going to
heard
get
that.
into everything because I want to keep it
Yeah.
as a surprise.
Yeah.
But
Well,
to
this is a
me-
teaser for it. This is a teaser for the part 1 and 2.
Exactly. But to
Yeah.
me, I want to tell you, he's one of the nicest people I've met, one of the greatest people that I ever look up to. And as I said, to be with the Beatles, you got to understand, he worked at Ready, Steady, Go. He was filming Ready, Steady, Go in the 60s when they did the Stones and they did the Animals and they did all that. And then he did the Beatles film clips, Revolution, Hey Jude.
Yeah.
What is it? Paperback Writer, Rain. Then he does the rooftop concert. Then he does Let It Be. I mean, to me, it's like,
Yeah.
I got no more to say. All I'm saying is you guys have got to watch it.
Yeah.
Got to watch it.
Excellent.
And now,
for our listeners,
with the
what's
new Peter Jackson-
what's his name again?
3-part, I just want to say, with the Peter Jackson 3-part documentary coming out on
Yeah.
Disney
Oh,
in
yeah. Let
November,
It Be.
which is a documentary of Michael Lindsay Hogg's
yeah.
work.
Okay.
This is what the timing is perfect.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes the timing works
Go
out.
ahead.
Yeah.
You're about
Wow.
to say?
It's your kid.
No, oh.
It's all right. You wanted to ask me something. I cut you off.
No, I was just asking about that question I had was what was most impressive to you personally. It's those secrets, you know, it's the man was there for all that. If without him,
He
you
was
just
there
gave
to
us
tell us everything.
you just gave us
He
one
told
teaser.
he told us stuff that I'd never heard. And this is why I want the world to hear this interview. Part 1, part 2. Do not miss it. Go and watch it now.
Yeah.
It's like, and you got to understand something. When Plastic EP does an interview, and I do a lot of interviews,
Right.
those major ones that are of major importance, historical significance, that's what those 2 are. So I'm going to say any more because what he tells you like blows my mind.
Yeah. Well, looking again more personally at you and not just your music and other people's music. Tell us one thing about you that you like to do. Another passion of yours that might not be music related. Is there anything that's not music related? This might be a hard question because you're involved. You're deeply
I love
passionate.
entertaining myself. But you know
There
what
you
I
go.
really like doing? I love being on the net 24/7
Yeah.
and discovering something that no one knows. Someone's done something or someone can do something or something that no one's seen.
Yeah.
You know, like I pick up these leads and I go after these interviews that no one knows about.
Yeah.
And when they come to fruition and I know, gee, that's world class.
Yeah.
Got to get
Cultural
that person
exploration.
on for this
That's
reason.
what I'll call it. Cultural exploration. You're exploring in and
Yeah,
finding.
and I do it, and I've done it. I've been
Excellent.
great at that. I found the guy
Yeah.
that's
You're-
renovating the 1973 Paul McCartney wing bus. Did you know about that?
No.
He's
no.
restoring the bus that we used to do the European tour. And they're on top of the roof and it's open and they've gone around and done all those university gigs and whatever gigs Wiggs did. He bought the bus and he's renovated. Have you heard of that one? I'm going to throw a few at you. Have you heard of a guy that made his own spaceship, Jupiter 2, in his lounge room that flies off magnets?
Really?
And it's big. And it's the future right there. I've never seen that.
Wow.
That's another one I've brought to the world. I've brought so many things to the world that's unheard of, that no one knows.
Hey,
would you?
I can't remember a lot of these interviews. You got to forgive me for that too. After
that's so many. That is just so many.
I can't remember everything.
I got another question.
I
got another question for you. When you're interviewing, did you ever discover someone who was maybe lacking humor or struggling in the interview? What did you do? Is there any?
All right, I want to explain.
You know what I'm saying?
That's actually a good question.
Did you ever feel that?
No, that's a good question. And say, I need to get right to the point.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, what happens is I can tell you, I'm great at reading people. 5 seconds, I've read it. I know. And when I do an interview, some people need 10 hours research or 3 hours research.
Yeah.
I can go 15 minutes, bang, straight in the interview, right? 15 minutes, that's all I need. Research. I can just go. That's just me. I don't care what anyone else does, right? But that way, if I want to do 10 interviews in a day, I can do it. No problem. But I don't want to do 10 interviews in a day. Anyway, what happens is I can read everyone up to not. And this is a good question. 99.9% of the people I've interviewed, no worries. They open themselves up. They tell me everything they want to tell me. I go with the flow. We do the interview. No problem. One person, I'm not going to say who it is. I'm not going to give the identity. I could not read him. I could not read him.
Yeah.
And I go, gee, I'm doing this interview and can't read him.
Yeah.
And I knew straight away, I go, now what's going to happen, right? To myself,
you're going to keep going is what you're going to do.
This is like completely different for me.
Yeah.
I've hit I'm hitting the wall on this one. This I don't get him. So anyway, then I started asking him a few questions. So instead of going like this, I came in like this, like an attack until I got to the straight and narrow. And then I did it. And you couldn't see it because you'll never be able to pick the interview. But I already got it within 1 minute of the interview. This guy ain't opening himself up.
Yeah.
This guy and telling me what I want to know. They're going to come in from the different ways to get where I need to get, right?
So you're saying that worked then? That worked for you at that point then? It worked.
There's only one interview where it's sort of like, it was like I was naked without my glasses. It was like I'm exposed. That was only one,
no glasses.
One interview. That's how I felt.
No wedding ring.
Nothing. No one knew it. But then I started telling him things that was blowing his mind. And as soon as I started telling him these certain things about him, which I caught on to, he sort of like, bang, it's just like,
oh, wow.
Opened up like a flower. But that was like planting a seed and watering it, and you're waiting for a year for something to happen. Never happened to me before, only once. That was amazing.
Yeah, and that's what I was looking for. So yeah, it happened very rare that one time, and
it's only happened once.
Yeah,
it's only happened once.
So for some of our listeners who might be doing a podcast as well, because the podcasters would be more likely to listen to this, your interviews, what length do you like? What's a good length? Have you thought about that, or are you completely open to long and short?
I have thought about that. The ideal length between you and me is about 20 minutes. That's the ideal, but what happens is sometimes I do shows and they go 2 hours and some people watch it 2 hours.
Yeah,
but,
we've gone an hour and 12.
In reality, I want to talk reality. I got a younger son. Right? And I put him in front of the TV and he doesn't watch the net much. And I did a show about the Monkees, one of the Monkees albums, and I had a panel with me. And this is my son who doesn't care, right? He's sitting in the chair.
I don't care.
He goes, this is a good show. He's there 5 minutes. He's there 10 minutes. He's still watching. He goes, I don't know all this stuff. This is really interesting.
Wow.
You should do more of
Yeah, my son could care less.
I'll be lucky with you. The ideal span of an interview, I reckon, to have the real impact is 15 minutes. All right?
Yeah.
That's something I'm only telling you guys.
Yeah.
I don't care if the rest of the world want to hear it.
Yeah.
But to me, the ideal time is 15.
Mhm.
But if you go 20, you go 20. And plus, if you've got a
people's
theme
attention
song or
span
something
isn't
out,
very long.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
I was
That's
going
what
to
it
say
is. The
45
expansion
minutes
span
is
isn't
people's
long.
attention span, but yeah, it could be
I
25.
know, but I actually reckon it's shorter. Plus this, you know
Yeah.
what I do now? I do people a favor. I don't know if you've noticed this. I don't play Hey Bananas, We Think You're Groovy,
Oh,
the
okay.
full song. I
Yeah.
don't do that now. Because it's like, let's give them 10 seconds of the song. Bang.
Yeah.
Let's get straight into the interview.
Yep.
You're over. You've done this. You know, they've
yeah.
done that. They want to see Hey Bananas, Dirty, Groovy. Go and watch 510 interviews. It's all there.
Yeah.
Full
Yeah,
length.
and we're doing that
But
already.
now,
People
it's
like
plastic
the, like
EP
the 10 seconds or
2021
something. Yeah.
Streamline.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, what was
serious. It's Plastic EP 2021 Streamlined.
Mhm.
And I'm telling you, because no one knows. Half the people won't pick it up. If I don't play the song Hey Bananas, We Think You're Groovy, people get upset. Because people actually watch the show sometimes for the song and not the guest.
I don't know how this works. Jim just handed me something here. I don't know how it works here. All right. Jim's got an idea here.
We're gonna wrap it up in a little bit, but we wanted to know if you want to do some music trivia.
This is where it gets fun.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
All right, so what we got here, this is Mike speaking for our listeners. We are going to have you choose a number, and it's between 1 and 20. And Plastic, you get to go first. And we're going to go back and forth, 5 questions each total. So it's 1. You get 1, Jim gets 1.
We have 20. Mike has 20 questions.
Yep.
So you pick a number between 1 and 20, and that question you'll get.
And this is music-based
I'll go for
trivia.
9.
And a lot of it is...
Question 9.
Okay. And
Number
a lot of
9.
this is stuff that...
Number 9.
Number 9. Number 9. Number 9.
Okay.
All right. So, Plastic, first question. Who was Crosby, Stills, and Nash's 1969 hit Sweet Judy Blue Eyes written about? And this is multiple choice. The 50s movies icon Judy Holliday, singer-songwriter Judy Collins, or a character in Cary Grant's movie?
I'm going for A.
I'm sorry, which one?
A.
All right, it is B, singer-songwriter Judy Collins.
Okay.
All right. And again, this isn't to bust anybody. This is
No
for
prizes.
This
No,
is
that's
the
all right.
prize.
Go for it. It doesn't matter.
This
I'm
is
going off the
education.
wing. If I know it, I know it. That's all it is.
Yeah. All right, Jim, give me a number.
4.
Number 4. All right, Jim.
Mm-hmm.
In which historic music festival did Joe Cocker appear and then reprise? The New York Folk Festival, Newport Folk Festival, Monterey, or Woodstock?
I think he was at Woodstock. And go with Monterey.
So that's Woodstock.
Oh.
Woodstock won, and it said Woodstock plus 25. I don't know why it says Woodstock plus 25. What does that mean? He wasn't
That's
like
the 25th.
he was there. Seriously?
Maybe.
Okay, Plastic. What's question number 2? What's the number here? Between 1 and 20.
Go for number 1.
Number 1. All right. Which of the following groups did Eric Clapton not form? This is a not. The Yardbirds, Cream, or Blind Faith?
Obviously, Blind Faith.
The book here says the Yardbirds. It said that Eric Clapton was not a forming member of the
I was
Did he
thinking
Yardbirds.
form
Blind
that
Faith.
group, Blind Faith?
Yeah. It says it
Did
was
he actually
not the,
form that group? I've never heard of that.
What's that? Blind Faith? Yeah, it says here that he helped to form Cream and Blind Faith. Yep.
Okay. That's
All
fine.
right, Jim,
Whatever
what's
you
the number?
say.
7.
7. All righty. Number 7. Another Yardbirds question. How did Yardbirds lead singer Keith Relf die? The Yardbirds lead singer.
I know
How
the
did
answer
he?
to that one, believe it or not.
Yeah. Okay. We're gonna. If he gets it wrong, we're gonna.
It's got to be odd to ask it, I would think. But
Yeah. So I'm sorry. In a private plane crash, from pneumonia, or he was shot during a riot.
I'm going to say he was shot during a riot.
All right. Do you know?
Well, what was the answer?
He's gonna plastic. Do you know?
Now, you know the first two answers you gave me. Just say them, I'll tell you the answer. Okay?
Oh yeah,
But
it was in a private plane crash or from pneumonia.
can I say something?
Yeah.
Actually, did he die from electrocution? That's my question there.
Oh,
Yeah.
you got it. You got it. It's from pneumonia. In 1976, another report says he was electrocuted at home while playing his guitar. However, his lifelong frail health makes the former reason seem more credible. So yeah, you have the electrocution answer in there. You get a point for that if we're giving out points. All right, another number then.
Thank you, but I'm
Plastic.
saying, you see, I didn't go to just the normal answer. I went to the
yeah.
one which
Yeah.
I
Right,
thought
because-
was.
Yeah, the whole word going around was electrocution, and maybe the death certificate says pneumonia. All right, next number, Plastic. What would you like to? What number? 1 and 20.
Can we go for number 5, please?
All righty. Going back to the low numbers again. All right, number 5. In the Steppenwolf song, were the now legendary words heavy metal originally found? Oh, in which? I'm sorry, I didn't read that well. In which Steppenwolf song were the now legendary words heavy metal originally found? Was it Suki Suki, Born to be Wild, or Magic Carpet Ride? Looking for the words heavy metal.
Well, I know it's 2 or 3 at a guess, right? Now this is going to be like, I got to go for number 2. Their big hit.
And you are right. It is Born to be Wild.
Born to be Wild.
Yeah, and I can't hear where that was in there. Heavy metal. No, not hearing it. Got to look that one
Unless
up
it
later.
just says it.
Got to look
Yeah,
that one
there's
up. Jim, go ahead. Give me a number.
18.
18. And then each get one more, I think.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, 18. Jim, who was the first artist released on the Beatles Apple label? Was it the Beatles, Billy Preston, or Mary Hopkin? I do not know this.
I'm sure Plastic does.
I want to give him a
Say
chance.
Billy Preston.
I'll tell you what it is.
All right, so you've got a choice here of the Beatles or Mary Hopkin. The first release
The
on
Beatles.
They are saying
Beatles.
it's Mary Hopkin. The Beatles, by the way, were still contracted to Capitol Records. That's what it's saying here. We can dispute.
It's all right. What I'm trying to say is, tell me if I'm correct or not, right? And I may be wrong. But I'm saying, when they did the Let It Be singles, right?
Yeah.
They put it out as Apple.
Okay.
Yeah. And I guess they're saying that Mary Hopkin was before that, but I don't know that. I can't say
I don't know.
that.
I'm just saying, Beatles, whether I'm right or not, I'll go by whatever you say. No problem for me.
You can't go wrong with the Beatles. All right, one more question for each. Give me a number 1 through 20. Plastic.
Right, who do you want the number from?
Plastic. Go ahead. Last question for each of you.
I'll go for 15.
All right. Okay, at what now infamous concert did the Grateful Dead perform in 1969? So it's Grateful Dead question. Which concert was the infamous one in 1969? Altamont, the Monterey Pop Festival, or the concert at Golden Gate Park? Now, I don't know the answer to this.
I don't either, but I think it's 1 or 2. Give me 1
It
or
is
2.
it is 1 or 2. So I gave you the 50-50 there. Yes, it's Altamont or the Monterey Pop Festival. Yeah, I
I
never
gotta
heard
go
of.
for Monterey. I don't know why, but I'm going
That's
for
what I
that.
would have said.
Yeah. So the answer is Altamont. And it's where a belligerent fan was killed during the Stones performance. Wow. All right.
That was
All
like
right.
the Hells Angels. Probably.
That's
Was it?
life.
Yeah. Hell's Angels. All right. One more from Jim. Go ahead and see if we can get one here.
3.
All right. Going with number 3. Education here for our listeners. Marie Laure was the real or birth name for which of the following? So, who did Marie Laure, Lawrie, become? Lulu, Anne Murray, or Laurie London?
I'm going to say
Lulu, Anne Murray, or Laurie London?
I'm going to say Anne Murray.
It is Lulu.
Okay.
Lulu. Yep. Very interesting. Well, that was a little education for our listeners here, taking us back into the 60s.
Was I meant to answer that? If you got it wrong, it didn't matter.
Yes, the question. Yes.
Sorry, there's no prizes.
No prizes. No prizes.
I'm not looking for a prize. You know what I love about this?
You already have your prize.
I got to tell you, this is an interview that I've thoroughly enjoyed.
Thank
and I'll
you.
tell you why.
Oh, we love it too.
Because you guys are great. You guys do a fantastic podcast, and you guys are real.
Thank
and you know what? That you can't beat. And as I said, what
There's
we've
no
discussed
BS here. No BS
I was happy
here.
to open myself up as a book, tell you as it is, tell you what it was, and it's something myself personally, I can't wait for it, to watch it on TV.
Our listeners,
right?
are going to love it.
Because from the time it started to the time it ended, you know, like, I just feel like it was just a fantastic interview
Thank
to
you.
take part on. And it's those kind of interviews where it's like a piece of meat. When you can put your teeth in it, you know it's a good interview. And I just feel like I just ate a fillet steak. You know, it was like,
It took time to
it
cook.
was like, it was top notch. You know what I
Thank
mean?
you.
It's like the Rolling Stones. You heard that song Off the Hook? That's a great song.
When my friends ask me who I'm interviewing, I said it's a guy from Australia, and they say, who is he? I said he's a podcast wizard and also a musician. So that's where I start. It's great meeting you virtually, and I didn't get to say in the beginning, good morning to you. We're doing a Friday night here, and good morning to you there.
Yeah, no, it's I've got to tell you, it's Saturday morning here, 11:30. We started like at 10. And I just want to say you guys are great.
Thank
I
you.
give you so much encouragement. You don't need it. Your shows like they stand on their own. And as I said, this is the kind of thing that we do. And I'm just saying, the two of you there, it's like, I've just thoroughly loved it. I can't wait to see these kind of interviews. It's like, you understand, for me personally, it like enriches your life. This interview has enriched my life. All right, that is fact.
Yeah,
Okay.
touches
I want you
your
to know
soul when you can communicate. Yeah.
Well, it's
Hey,
not
thanks
that.
so-
I told you, we're stars
Yeah.
of the internet. These people don't know what they are. Once you know who you are, what you're doing,
You
and
gotta
where you're
have
going, the
confidence.
road's easy.
Yeah.
You
gotta
guys, you got stars.
Thank you.
Don't be intimidated by anyone out there. They're all human. I'm telling you, I'm not.
Yeah.
I've got 1,000 people that have told me they're going to come on my show. I'm still waiting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
still
Keep them waiting. Keep them waiting. Yeah.
Well,
All right. You
what do
have
I
a
mean?
great rest of the
Go ahead,
day,
movie.
and stay cool, and have a great rest of the day.
Thank you.
Hey, listen, there's very few people I salute, and you guys I salute. You know,
Thank
and
you.
I want
And
to.
we'll call you Sir.
Wanna
We'll call
end
you
the
Sir
show?
Plastic.
You want to end the show? This is how you do it. Whack this on the end.
Yeah.
Plastic EP salutes Jim and Mike. Talk music. All the
Thank
best.
you.
See you guys.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Take
Talk
care.
to you soon.
Take care.
See you. Bye.
You give me electric shocks. You give me electric shocks. My legs are burning in my socks. You give me electric shocks. Mariah, her love is on fire. Mariah, oh yeah, Mariah. Your eyes are like fire. Come back to me, Mariah. Mariah, her love is on fire. When you look into my heart, when you look into my heart.
The song's At Home and Electric Shocks, used with permission from Plastic EP.